Easy ye, how are we?
According to your stories, I'm fucking great going around with my little knee scooter, reading me B-books.
Do you know what? I actually haven't even come close to posting all the ones that obviously I only posted one that Jamie has made. Jamie's got like a comic book. So if anyone saw the Instagram stories over the weekend, I had an upgrade in my replacement for the hybrid series there, and we'll talk about in a second. But yeah, you there was a picture of you with you had your foot up in some mobility scooter, and the ebook for dummy, the bees for dummies. There was a few puns getting thrown in there. You think I remember when the puns got thrown in? Something about you buzzing a different kind of way, or I can't remember. There's a few different puns that got thrown into that Instagram about you. It looks like you're taking it pretty well. Oh, by the way, there's a few. I've got few in the back pocket about you and your coach gunning Jamie down and myself down for Dundee that might get thrown on the Instagram stories a little bit later on.
Listen, it's a work in progress. That's all I'm going to say.
Off.
Yeah. No, that's the end. I'm telling you, the amount of text messages I got after it as well. I said, like,
did you?
Oh, yeah. But you see, that's good because people are like really getting their own back, you know? Like, I do like it. I do enjoy it. But I do remember.
Man, I was talking to someone at the start, like literally I was 2 seconds away from starting the race, the hybrid series, and someone came up to me and I was like, hey, Sean, hey, my friend Amy, she's upgraded from Eric today. And then they were like, oh yeah, Eric seems in a bad way with his foot. I'm like, oh, you've kept up to date with the episodes and stuff like that. So people are asking for you and how you got on. I'm like, Eric's not here. I'm here. Ask about me. How's my groin injury doing? I'm doing all right. I'm still going.
I have to say, the abuse actually mentally keeps me strong because I have all the comebacks. I just don't use them. I'm saving them in the little black book. The little vendetta mission is going to come back.
I'm a little worried because the last time you did that to me was the first year of Barcelona trip. Afterwards, you know, you said nothing. You seeded a bit. And then a couple of months there, we did Dunshaughlin 10K. And after the first 2K, you just strolled past me like,
no, you left me for dead.
That wasn't my fault, actually. That was Jamie again, getting in my head like a run a 45-minute 10K when I hadn't ran in 2 months.
Caught you at 3K and said, oh, we've something to talk about now. Well, anyway, the comeback king is on. He's allowed to do 10 minutes on the bike. God love him. So, yeah, that's all I'm allowed, 10 minutes.
Well, you missed out on Saturday. Hybrid series, myself and yourself did it last
December.
I
was a bit jealous, I'm going to say, because it does look, and I seen Aisling was down there. I think she was judging or doing or both.
Both, actually, from our Barcelona trip.
She was on our Barcelona trip. But yeah, I have to say I would have, I'm trying to get the words out here. There's parts of it, obviously, the running doesn't like it impossible, but even to be able to do the ski or the this or the that, you know, like there's parts of it I'm like, no, I could have just went around and not done the run and let Sean just run around his own and join in another part. But that's kind of cheating, I suppose. But it's looked like a fantastic event.
Yeah, no, it was buzzing from the second we got there. I was kind of worried because all the glass and stuff around there and the week of heat we've had. Now, it's warm out there, but it's always warm in High Rocks. You know yourself, Eric, that's why T-shirts magically disappeared during it. But I kept mine on because I was representing the brand. I was very proud of myself keeping T-shirt on. I don't look in that great shape. I forgot to shave my chest and all, so I didn't feel comfortable taking it off. But I know it was really good. The atmosphere was great. It was buzzing when we got there to start the course. And myself and Amy did a friend I know from ABC Gym, and she was like, right, we're going to take a handy and stuff. And I was like, yeah, no, cool. I'm happy with that. I'm not in the best of shapes right now, but we'll take a handy. And within the first lap, I saw a couple of guys from ABC and Lucan. One of the guys, Darren, was running with his son later on. He passed me out a couple of times. But I did my usual, all right. And I started speeding up a bit. But then she started overtaking people. I'm like, oh man, we're in the trenches now. So I went from like a handy enough number because I hadn't done much high rock stuff to this is tough going. So great workout. Really enjoyed it. I got to talk to Rachel before, Rachel Farrer, who's on the podcast, and she said, I didn't get a chance to talk to her afterwards, but her mum was doing it that day. So they were talking about what the half sims, so like doing like
Oh yeah,
half the
yeah, yeah.
loops, and
Very good.
they had
Yeah,
that set up and half the exercise and stuff like that. So the really cool thing about it is like it's really accommodating and like non-intimidating for someone that just wants to start. Like there's no
yeah.
big mad ton of mad races. And don't get me wrong, that has its place and that's really cool if you're fired up for a different kind of event. But like I said, I was talking to someone randomly and someone was like 3, 2, like, oh shit, Amy, we better go. We better get started. But Jerna and Jer Copeland be glad to hear this. I'm used to training and running a lot by myself, except for Sunday mornings where I get killed trying to push harder on runs. But like usually when I'm running myself or I'm in the gym by myself doing a workout, I always let out that a one stage Jerna 3 times I did it. The first time, Amy Turner, I was like, what's wrong with you? I'm like, nothing, forget about it. And then the second time, a random person was like, oh, the podcast, I love the episode, like within seconds of it. And I'm like, mate, can't talk, but cheers, thank you. And on I went. And then the guy was talking about Luke, and the third time, as I went, he just passed me out, shouldered me in the back, like, come on, get out of my way. And I was like, it was like the bat signal of alerting people that I knew in that arena would just magically appear behind me. And it's like embarrassing as hell. So I'm trying to get that out of my
So
system.
who held who back this time?
The exercises, we start going 50-50 and I felt okay. And like when I got to the ski, I messed up with you before. I started going too fast. I did slightly more in the sleds, but then when we got to the rower, I was like, I thought we were 50-50. And so I did my first 250 and I was averaging a 150 pace. Amy hops on it and then she's down to a 140, 142 pace. I'm like, oh, I'm the slow one here. I better up my pace here. I upped my pace there, and after that, then I started to struggle with the running. Like she seemed comfortable, and I just haven't got that extra gear. So like, the wall balls, I was not great at wall balls. I haven't touched. I did a high rocks in the week before, and I had to do a 3 kilo wall ball. So doing 6 and that, I really struggled at. Farmer carries my strength. It was the same with you. Sprinting through the farmer carry stuff. Burpees, she held her own. I held my own. It was like 5 each. That was grand. Lunges were a struggle. I had to stop after the lunges just because that amount of lunges and then trying to run afterwards, my legs just wasn't used to that and that kind of training. So I struggled. It was the first time I finished though where I kind of collapsed across the finish line, which is great because it was like I got a great workout
You
in.
were
Usually
maxed
I get
out.
to like when we did wall
You weren't
balls.
maxed out the day you finished with me.
No, and I wasn't even the week before when I did the solos. I was maxed out in a different way. I just couldn't do the wall balls. I was just goosed, as in like the legs and stuff were sore. When I crossed the line, I was like, "Oh, that ending was shit," kind of way. But I was able to push hard, and it was it was
Well,
really
what
enjoyable.
time did you do it in?
Just 116,
All
one
right, because when
sixteen.
me and you did it, it was 111. So what's this new and improved bit? You know,
Oh,
where's this?
she was new and improved. I
Ah,
was the letdown. I
ah,
hadn't trained
oh
high
yeah,
rocks. I
oh
was
yeah,
manning
yeah,
the high
yeah,
rock
yeah.
sim and stuff
So
beforehand.
you were
So I was the
deflecting,
letdown.
deflecting on me, and this is your sport. You train people to do
This
this
was
sport,
not my.
and you were like, "Oh, this is us. I'm going to bring everyone to a high rocks," and you were a disgrace. That's all I've heard. Me and a bad ankle would have given that a better effort now than you.
I've seen you firsthand. I know, one, you wouldn't. Two, those who can do, those who can't teach, and that's exactly what I do. I teach this stuff. I don't do this stuff. See, no,
It
I
is
was
good.
no.
No, in all
Mm,
seriousness, though, and to bring it back, the half sim element as well, I
mm,
actually think it's genius. And a couple of times over the last couple of episodes, a lot of people have talked about price. Now, look, an Ironman is an Ironman, and it's an expensive gig, and it always will be. But there's a lot involved in that gig. Well, there's a lot involved in the athlete
mm.
for that gig. But the likes of the hybrid series and other competitors to the high rocks element, I think it's absolutely fantastic. I think if they did 1 a month, it'd be absolutely amazing. Because,
Mm.
like, I get the idea if it's once every month, people probably lose interest in it. But if you set certain dates in the year and go after it, because it gives people an affordable goal and you know, no different to your local races or your local marathon or some of the smaller marathons, it's still the work ethic, it's still the hard work, it's still a training goal, but it's a day out to get to put it to the test.
Well, I'll see what you like next month then. If you feel like you should do one once a month, see how you're feeling for
Well,
that.
I got back to work. This is the great thing. So I'm fit enough to fly. I
Oh,
can't cycle more than 10 minutes. That shows you how little work I do when I'm flying.
what happened when you tried to cycle for the 10 minutes? What happened after 10 minutes?
No, it's all right. It is okay, actually. Yeah, it's the first couple of days was really stiff. Now the legs actually, my quads, because they've
Hmm.
done nothing, were absolutely burning after about 5 minutes. But it's just the stiffness in the ankle. It just feels the best way I can describe it. So there's a knee to wall test you do. So if you put your toes facing the skirting board and you try and touch your knee off the wall, most people should be able to go to the wall or put their feet 5 or 10 centimeters back and make the wall. I'm at -5 centimeters. So, meaning if my toe is at the wall, I am still 5 centimeters away from the wall when I try and
Oh,
knee off it. Yeah. So that's the mobility that's in the ankle afterwards at the minute. So pain wise, better. Limp wise, better. I am walking around. I went walking. Physio will kill me when we hear this. Yeah, but I did walk a little bit further than anticipated, and that was to do with not being able to get parking. So by the time I'd finished my little bit of a shop and back, I was sore. I was
hmm.
actually like, oh yeah. But because work, it's basically I sit my arse and my feet do little movements, no more than it's all hands mostly. But yeah, it's really humbling and frustrating because you're like, I'm able to do this, and then you go for a 10-minute walk, and you're like, oh, that is starting to throb. So it's just frustrating. It's just
Hmm.
really annoying. But even still, the swelling, it does look like still they were nearly 4.5 weeks on of two different ankles.
Wow,
Um,
it's still
yeah,
swollen up.
still, it just looks like just two completely different. It actually looks like I grew an extra ankle on the bones on both
Ah,
sides.
yeah.
Um, so yeah, look, it's we'll see what comes over the next couple of weeks, but Dublin is definitely out. That was confirmed last week and be reconfirmed on Tuesday in the physio, but that's definitely gone.
Right.
So yeah, we'll see. Donaghy will be. We'll see. Unknown, but it'll still be the target. It'll still be the goal, but how close we can get. But it'll be well, swimming. I'm not actually allowed to swim right now at the minute, which I thought was unusual.
Why
Um,
not swim?
I think it's just because of the flexion. Like
For
it
oh,
does hurt. The best way to describe it when I try and put my knee towards the wall. Do you know when you crack your knuckles, Sean?
hmm.
And just before you crack your finger, there's like a resistance, and then it cracks, and then your finger will move like another centimeter or two. When I'm
Hmm.
getting my knee towards the wall, it just locks like it wants to crack, but
Oh,
there's no
it's
crack
for sure.
coming, but it just won't go any further. So, but it's also a little bit on the opposite direction as well, and the other flexion of the toe. Like if you were swimming trying to kick and you were pointing your toes to the wall behind you, that's sore, and that kind of flexion in the pool. So they want me to avoid that. So cycling is just about tolerable for the 10 minutes, but we'll see. We're making a lot of progress, though. To be fair, it is only 4.5 weeks. Um, but it's yeah, we'll see. I'm hoping by the time next week comes around to be a lot more progress.
Yeah, shout out Anto. Get on it for whenever those tickets come out. So you definitely get your ticket in for the 50K this time, and you know about it. If I see it pop up online, like here, Eric, make sure you get a ticket this time. No excuses.
Yeah, and I'll just do it on a bike. I'll cycle around with the leaders. But yeah, no, it is good. But the events like that, like I probably am going to end up more, I won't say high rocks, but more multi-sport focused and cross training focused because running is definitely the one that's out the most.
Hmm.
Um, of cycling being the first, swimming probably second, and running, the impact of the running is definitely gone for a long time is what I've been told, and see how the progression is. So I think getting on skiers and rowers and all of those kind of things and bikes is probably what's going to be coming my way for the next little while. So yeah, we'll see what I can do to keep myself interested.
Yeah, and as you build yourself back up, who do we have this week on the Any Given Run Day podcast?
Well, this week is actually something good. Well, they obviously take on running and they're running better, which frustrates me now. I hate everyone who's running. But it is a slightly different episode. We've got a great perspective of someone who got into the sport only recently and also is one that puts themselves out there quite a lot. And it's always insightful to see what it's like on the other side of the lens and get some insights into what it's all about. So it's a great episode. It's a change. It's changed from the regular week of what we talk about, but of course, running is always the foundation of it all, and it's what brings us all together. So it's another great episode.
And with that said, it's this week's episode of the Any Given Run Day podcast. Let's go. I'll do better than I rock next time. I'll try next time. Our next guest on the Any Given Run Day podcast is an online content creator and physique development coach who got into running only in June 2025. But since then, he ran the Dublin Marathon in 3:32, broke the sub-40 barrier for a 10K and ran the Great Limerick Half in 1 hour, 23 minutes and 43 seconds. Quick math for you in that one. That's 4 sub-25Ks back-to-back, plus an extra 1.1K at a sub-4-minute pace. He is now aiming for a 2:59 marathon. Sam O'Hara, welcome to this week's episode of the Any Given Run Day podcast. How are you getting on?
Thanks so much, Sean and Eric, for having me on. Jeez, that was the best introduction I ever got to myself. I feel amazing there.
Don't worry, I'll bring you back down to earth now, Sam. Come here, Sam. Where do you get off on having all this raw talent? You're making us look bad. But more importantly, how did you get into sport? Because Sean has mentioned a few things that probably we are very familiar with through our social media life in terms of physique and development. But where did this all start for you, and how did you get into sport?
Yeah, so played soccer all my life, or football, whatever you want to call it, until I was about 16, and would have played that at like a pretty competitive level, like not county really, but just kind of a step below, and played that all my life. And I would attribute a lot of the kind of the progress I've made in the last year probably to that. So yeah, I've played that until I was about 16, and then, or sorry, till I was about 18. Then I moved to Canada for 4 months when I went into college. And then I suppose that's kind of how I got into sport, just playing soccer. Through lockdown, then I was doing a bit of running. I think I could have done. I did a sub 20-minute 5K. I remember that. All right. Do you know when everyone was posting their 5K times on their Instagram story, and
we were all editing
like
Travis to say we did it in 12 minutes. yeah.
I fucking knew you did it, Eric. I knew
it. yeah. So I remember I had my uncle pace me to do a sub 20-minute 5K because he was properly into running. I just wanted to get a cool Instagram story. So I suppose that was the first time I kind of went out and really gave running a lash. And then like did that for maybe 2 or 3 months, probably not too serious, just running with him because it was something to do, not going over the 5K radius, of course, but just getting out and about.
Can I ask you on that one, Sam, before you move on? Because obviously you're being dragged along by someone who knows what a sub 25K is. You don't really know. You just know it's a number in a time. How horrible was it? Did you do much training? I know you did a little bit of running, and but like, was he looking at you going, are you sure? And you were like, yeah. So, how was it?
We both kind of had no idea. Like I was watching YouTube videos like 3 days before on how to do it and like all the tips and tricks I could pick up. But it honestly just felt like an all out sprint. And I was like, right, okay, I just have to do this for 20 minutes. So like, I remember I think it was 8 songs lined up on a Spotify playlist. Like I wasn't even listening to them. I just had my headphones in. And then, we just went down the road. And honestly, I think that was like the hardest and the most pain I ever felt. Like it was great. It set the bar from day one. I was like, right, I'm never doing this running crack again. And here we are.
It is some feeling. And I suppose there's people like Sean that will begrudge it because on your first run, you went to sub 25K. And we spent a long time trying to get there. And it takes a little bit. But talk us after that, because genuinely, and we've often said, a 5K best effort versus a marathon, cruisy, easy. Me and Sean will always pick the second choice. Did it turn you off running for a bit? Because obviously you got into the other stuff after that. Did when things started to open up, did you go, yeah, completed it, sub 25K, not for me?
Yeah, so I did that kind of like period of running for however, like a few months, and like I definitely was doing a bit of running before I did the sub 20-minute 5K now, right? I don't want to say I just went out there and did
no. You were playing sports.
I was definitely doing a bit of training. Yeah. But so I went back to football that season, and like I was the fittest I'd ever been in my life. Like I remember going back and I felt amazing. I'd never felt this fit in my life. And then the season rolled around then, and I wasn't getting game time, couldn't get on the field. I didn't really know why. So I just asked my coach, and he said, like, the reason is you're just not physical enough. Like, unfortunately, like, anyone who plays sports in Ireland will tell you physicality is a huge aspect to the game. And I was tiny. I was 60 kg. I was never filling out t-shirts and like definitely insecure about it. But like, I wasn't really like it didn't matter to me because I wanted to be fit. I wanted to be fast. So then once I was told that, and once that kind of like broadened my horizon, I was kind of like, right, well, I need to make a change here. So I remember hearing that and literally going straight to the gym. I just went straight home and we had a little setup. Like, my dad used to go to the gym. So went home, had no idea what I was doing, just started getting into the gym. And I was like, right, I need to get as big as I possibly can. Like, I need to, this is like, because soccer was still my dream. Like, I was like, I'm going to be a pro. Like everyone thinks they're going to be a pro, right? So yeah, I just really wanted to put on muscle, and that kind of let me down the muscle building route, I suppose you could say, from kind of fifth year in school onwards. And then I'd say I was about 6 months into my quote unquote physique development, I suppose, career, if you want to call it that, or whatever you want to call it, but just me trying to get bigger. I was about 6 months into that and decided to make a fitness page. So I was about 65 kg, had very little muscle on me, and was just like, I just want to document this and see where it takes me, because I thought, number one, I thought it'd be easier, hold me accountable. Said it to my mom. I was like, what do you think? She was like, just don't post yourself in your jocks. I was like, right, you'll give it a crack. And here we are, like 5 years onwards. The best decision I've ever made, but definitely the most daunting thing I've ever done. And it was actually just coming out of the end of lockdown, or I don't think schools were back. So that's kind of why I decided to do it, because I was like, the worst slagging I'm going to get is over a phone, and like I can deal with that, like that. How bad can that be, right? So that's why I decided to do it. So yeah, it just worked out well in timing, I suppose, because honestly, if lockdown didn't happen, there's no way that fitness page would have happened, I don't think.
Sam, can I bring you back there, because you're a little bit older now? There's 5 years between now and then, and I want to go back to the coaching element of it, because something there was a bit of a flag to me, that a coach turns around and goes, yeah, you're not physical enough. And I'm guessing they were referring to your physical size. A throwaway comment, because the internet is full of throwaway comments, but obviously this is someone you trust and you want to play. And when you're at the mercy of a coach, let's call a spade as a failed trying to be a professional footballer myself, you're at the mercy of the person that's making that decision. So to get a throwaway comment, did they give you any, get you down to a strength and conditioning coach, or just say, you go away there and get bigger? Where was there any kind of development plan? Was there any kind of element? Because that's something, as some parents may be listening to, and their kid comes home, I'm lifting all the weights that are possible now. It's like, whoa, hold on, where did this come out of? Or were people on board with was this part of the plan? Was it, I'm curious into that section a bit more.
Yeah, no, really good question. Because I actually attribute a lot of kind of the discipline and consistency that I have now to that coach, because I was playing in quite a high standard of soccer, and he was superb. And that's as a team, we were really all on the same wavelength. It was quite intense, and it was just a case of, if you're not good enough, you're not getting on the team. That's it. There was no favoritism, none of that. It was you're either good enough or you're not. And I wasn't good enough. And that was because of a physicality standpoint. Maybe a technical standpoint as well. Maybe you just didn't want to say that. But no, I wasn't really led down, a gym route or anything like that. I suppose that was just the answer that I was getting. And honestly, it's what I needed to hear, man. Sometimes the harsh answer is what you need to hear, and looking back, it's the best thing that could have heard, where would I be today if I didn't hear that? Probably a better runner, actually, now thinking out loud, but that's I don't want to say that, but no, honestly, it is the best thing that I could have heard. And yeah, I think even sports in Ireland, it's so harsh, man. It's so harsh. Trying to go anywhere with team sports, I find it can be really, really harsh, and it can be heartbreaking, so it was what I needed to hear, though, and I'm so glad I did experience that.
It was one thing I found, particularly in the soccer, when you move in towards the top level in the League of Ireland, you're 16, 17 years of age, the politics, for want of a better word, definitely goes out of it. You're either good enough or you're not.
Yeah.
And that was one thing I had a very difficult come to terms with when you go into that level and you're told you're not good enough right now, and this 34-year-old man who's had 12 years experience is the reason you're not good, and there is a lot of growing up you have to do quite young, and a lot of coaches will say, if you're good enough, you're old enough, and if you have the talent, and he said, and maybe some of the physicality, some kids will develop a little more. And it was just nice to hear. It was more so if it was very personal to be like, did you go through the same kind of things I did? But there's a lot of development that has to happen with yourself. But obviously you pivoted. Was that the end of the football, or did you use a hybrid model for a while? Because at a certain point with me, I drew a line to say, I'm not going to be a professional.
So it wasn't the end of the football. Like it was still like football was still number one for me. So like I was going to the gym to be a better footballer. I wasn't going to the gym to really build muscle. You know, like I didn't want to go to the gym. I was like, why am I here? I don't really enjoy this. But you know, I was like, right, okay, this is something I need to do to get to where I want to be. And you know, I was going to the gym, and then I suppose it kind of transitioned to where I was like, okay, gymming to be a better footballer. And then I was kind of like, oh, this kind of muscle building stuff, this kind of cool. Like I like building muscle, you know. Now I feel a little bit more confident, you know. My arms are a bit bigger. I didn't fill into that t-shirt last week like last few months, and now I do. So that was the kind of transition period for me. And I suppose that kind of happened between fifth and sixth year. And like fifth and sixth year in school is a very transformative time for a lot of people. Like a lot of people will experience a lot of kind of like, I suppose you really kind of see who you are. You make a lot of your friends for life in that kind of time frame. So for me, it was like a real understanding period of myself. I was kind of like, right, okay, I actually really like this kind of gym stuff, so I want to give it a crack. So yeah, I was still playing football until it would have been third year of college. Now, like it would have been, I swapped teams in about first year, so it wouldn't have been probably as competitive. Still at quite a high standard. And then, third year I moved to Canada, and then just never got back into it since.
You to go a little bit fast forward in this one. Well, I said in the intro of the podcast, June 2025, you know, was when you got into running. But before you got into running, you did this mad 14-week. I don't want to say cut because I didn't see what you like before the 14 weeks. Maybe it was a cut, maybe it wasn't. But you got in serious shape. And then like you're mad serious shape. That's like photo shoot shape. Unbelievable. Body fat must be -6. I don't fucking know. It was mad. But at that stage, it's like this going back to the, gym stuff I used to do before. The last thing you wanted to do at that stage was extra cardio, and on top of that, twofold. The last time I felt young was probably October 2017 when I lined up for a double marathon, because a lot of older people were around me at that stage. Maybe Eric, that's the way I have it at this stage.
We were younger
younger at that stage, right? So you're 21 at this stage. You're in tremendous physical shape, and then you decide, right, I'm going in towards double marathon. Fill in the gap a little, me Sam. You had to be worried about losing the mass you had on, and two, how did you get back into marathons?
Yeah, I suppose, where do I start? So I suppose I did that photo shoot that would have finished up around April time, in 2025 it would be. April time 2025. That photo shoot was the hardest thing I've ever done in my life. I don't think anything or any period of time has ever even came close to the level of discipline that photo shoot required. So that was like, that really set the bar for me. And like, I think it actually translated a lot into my running. Like, as any run that I go on now, I'm kind of like, right, this is going to be over in a period of time. Whereas when I was in February, March time, and I'm struggling, I'm dragging my feet throughout the day, you know, I'm eating the exact same meals day in, day out. And I don't want to put a bad image on a photo shoot prep, because it taught me things that nothing else in life will. And it was genuinely, I wouldn't change it for the world. I'm so glad I did it, but it is the hardest thing I've ever done in my life. So when I am in races now, I'm kind of like, right, you know, I'm doing a 10K tomorrow. I know around 7K, I'm going to be in a whole lot of pain. And I'm actually getting quite scared thinking about it now. But at the end of it, you're like, right, okay, I have 10 more minutes of running. I have 12 more minutes of running. I can do that, you know? And I think it really opened my perspective to what's possible. So yeah, I suppose I did the photo shoot. And then like at the end of this photo shoot, you are like, there's so many things going on. You're absolutely like you're starving all the time. Like all the time, you're extremely hungry. You finish a meal, you want to eat again. And I actually found when I ate, I became hungrier. So like that just kind of tells you what you need to hear. Like you genuinely are like a bottomless pit. So decided to go on a 5K, did a 5K on the Greenway in Waterford at like 5:55 pace, still covered in tan from the shoot. I probably did it so I could have like a dairy milk when I got home. Like that was honestly probably the reason I did it. It felt awful. It felt so bad. But I kind of was like, right, I am so bad at this. I'm 21. I can hardly do a 5K. I felt embarrassed. I was like, I have a fitness page. What is this? Isn't the dots aren't adding up here, you know? So I was like, right, okay, I want to get good at this running crack. So, and it was a new goal. Because I was like, right, am I going to go back trying to build muscle and do another photo shoot? Or am I just going to completely hit flip the switch and try to do something else. And like, I'm so glad I did. And then, yeah, it was about 14 weeks out from the Dublin Marathon. And I was lucky enough to do the Dublin Marathon for Pieta House. So I actually messaged Pieta House on Instagram and just said that I'd love to do it for them and raise as much money as I can, because it's an amazing cause. And I'd say within 10 minutes, they emailed me a ticket.
Wow.
So as you can imagine, when you've done one 5K, maybe a 6K, and then you get a ticket for the Dublin Marathon 14 weeks out, it's quite a scary thing to get. And we were actually on a road trip up north. So I had about 5 hours in the car to make this running plan. So straight on to Mr. ChatGPT, me and my brother. My brother runs track. So he was like, no, man, you need to include a few hills as well here. So we were making like the perfect plan. And cracked on from there, really.
There's one thing you were talking about there that struck me. One of our very first guests we had, we're going back 5 years now, Conor Jameson is a colleague of mine. We trained together in the military school. But he always said, you can't look like a show pony and train like a racehorse. You've talked about you're going out in your tan. Obviously, you've probably had that post-photo shoot meal, so you've given some nutrition to the body. But that fatigue that you probably felt from that, we'll call it the restricted 14 weeks to get into what they call in the bodybuilding world is the best shape and the minimum body fat. Did part of this plan now become, and I've done this on salad now, what can I do if I'm, actually eating and working hard? Was there a shift into performance body as opposed to physique body? Or what was the mindset as you were making this plan?
It was extremely hard, man. It was so hard. Like, trying to flip your perspective from, like, I had lines in my body I didn't even know I could have. Like, don't get me wrong, I wasn't like in like a bodybuilding stage condition, but I was really, really lean, like really, really lean. And like, when you try and fuel for performance, and like, I remember like when I first started like taking gels, I started taking the carb chews. I don't know if you've ever had carb chews. They're not the nicest thing in the world, but I was going on long runs so I could have the carb juice. That tells you how like how ravenous I was. Like, I was just like, I was starving. So like, trying to flip the perspective from fueling for performance to, or sorry, yeah, for performance rather than like to get lean or to build muscle was extremely hard. And I'm still struggling with it today. You know, I've been doing this for a year. I'm still struggling. Like, even carb loading for me, it still feels weird. And, like it's a blessing and a curse, because I know so much more about food now, but it's definitely something that I really, really struggled with. So, like I had to learn that I need more body fat to train. Like, if I want to go out on these long runs, you can't be shredded, man. You just can't. And like, it breaks my heart because you see so many influencers doing it on social media, and then like, I'm sure there's going to be loads of young guys and girls who are like, no, I need to lose body fat, I need to lose body fat. Like, no, you don't. You need that body fat. If you lose the body fat, you're going to learn the hard way, and you're probably going to get injured. And I think we've all seen the commotion about stretch factors on social media. Like, man, I could talk about this. Oh, like, how long do you have?
You've got another 22 minutes.
But having said that, one of the prompts on ChatGPT going up in that journey where you got that ticket was one of them, how do I maintain or keep somewhat my muscle mass while going
probably
for
the
a
first
run?
one.
So in that journey since, because you do talk on your page about, you do put up your lower body, your upper body sessions, and you're definitely in decent nick now, and you've maintained your muscle mass. And I've talked before the podcast, my body fat will always go up in marathon training, always. I do like the in-body and stuff and work. Body fat will go up 2-3% when I'm really in the thick of a decent marathon block. I say decent because it doesn't happen that often. But for you, like, is your approach different to the marathon, or would it be different looking back on it now because you want to maintain muscle?
Yeah, so obviously I had that 14 weeks before Dublin Marathon, and like, I thought I could just do it without gaining body weight, and like, I learned the hard way you can't. Like, I was just picking up niggles, like I was getting sore Achilles, sore everything, man. And I was like, right, well, maybe I should like listen to all these people I follow who say that you need to actually eat more food and give that a try. And lo and behold, I gained 2 kilos, 3 kilos, but I was running the best times I ever had, man, and like I was like, the scales was going up, and like, it was so hard seeing it in the mirror, man. Like, I remember I was going out on a 14K run, and I was like, oh, I'll just weigh myself, and I saw like 86.7 on the scales, and I'd never ever, I haven't seen that in like a year. And like, man, the whole run I was just thinking about it. I was like, oh my god, and like, I'm so glad I got past that phase because like I needed that weight. Do you know what I mean? So yeah, it's been a really, really hard journey, man. And I know coming into Dublin, I'm going to gain a few kilos. I know I won't be throwing up any physique development updates on my Instagram. And that's just the truth. I'm just being 100% honest because I won't have the confidence to, because I won't be as lean. Okay. And like, that's what they don't tell you. All these guys that you follow who are doing these marathons, you probably don't see their updates when they're doing the marathons. You know why?
Yeah.
Because they're carrying more body fat, because they are eating 4,000 or 5,000 calories a day. These guys are big, big guys and they need to fuel their bodies correctly. So yeah, it's a really tricky one, man, because like, once again, I will gain weight coming into Dublin, but I'll be perfectly fine with that, man. Like, I'm not on the brink of like breaking 210 for a marathon to where I need to be 60 kilos. I'm looking to break sub 3. I can have a bit more body fat. You know what I mean? So that's something that like I'm grateful I know now, but just wish that it could be installed with every runner, because I just had to learn the hard way, like, you know.
It is one thing that most runners or people, so sometimes people get into running because they want to, it's a weight loss journey, and a lot of people we've seen over the years, they lose 20, 30, 40 kilos, and it's through getting their steps up and getting out, and they introduce movement, and that turns into how far can I go, and then that turns into a marathon, and that turns into an ultra marathon. It's usually, can I get the scales lower as a beginning, whereas you're actually seeing it going up, which is probably the healthiest method for marathon training that any nutritionist will ever say. Is you shouldn't see weight loss, you should only see weight increase or staying the same when you're progressing through. When people are reaching out, I've no doubt getting in touch with you for advice. How do you put yourself in that mind frame? Because from a 60 kilo guy who was told you need to be bigger, and you've been lean, how do you swap that mind frame into the other side of people who are on the other side coming down on the journey, I suppose?
Yeah, I think it's just experience, man. I don't think there's any like no message that I'm going to send to any 16, 17-year-old who's maybe looking to do what I do is going to flip their perspective. Like, I think you really just have to go in, jump into the deep end and realize it yourself, you know, because people said it to me. So many people said it to me, you know, like fuel more. And I was like, no, I don't want a carb load for this long run. I'll be fine. I'll just bash it out, you know, like I can do this, but like, you can't do it. Like, and if you do, you'll probably either A, get injured, or B, take twice as long to recover. So yeah, it's really tricky. And like, the problem is now, just with social media, like, you're seeing so many different things. Like, you look up a question about running, you'll get 3 different answers, you know? So like, that's the problem. So honestly, there's no message that I'm going to send that's ever going to tell someone like that, because like, I had so many people message me and I didn't listen to them. And like, looking back, I wish I did, but listen, I'm here now and I know what it takes to fuel my body. And I'd attribute a lot of the progress that I've made in running to that. Like, to just being like, no, Sam, you need to eat more now. Eat more, listen to your body. Like, I remember after like some long runs, I'd put down like 2,200 calories before 11 a.m. And I was like, oh my God, like, that was like 2 days of eating maybe. Like, you know, like that was crazy to me. But I was like, listen, I feel class, you know, I'm running amazing times, you know, and like, I'm progressing more than ever. So yeah, it's just something you just have to learn, man. And like, honestly, like, I don't track calories now, and I haven't for the last year, really, bar when I'm carb loading. And a reason for that is so like, I don't get all caught up in the numbers game, because like, I'd be lying if I said I'm completely over it. Like, yes, I'm at a good relationship with my food, but it's taken a long time to get here, and it's taken a lot of trial and error to get here, if that makes sense.
At what stage did you start taking the next? Because I know at the end of June you got the fitness goose was your coach, or is your coach.
Yeah.
At what stage did you reach out to him, and what was the point when you said ChatGPT or whatever it is not getting it done? If I'm going to make a serious effort or serious run at this, I need a running coach.
Yeah, man, ChatGPT Premium. You need to get ChatGPT Premium so you can get unlimited messages. And I was like,
I talked to it all night.
I don't have ChatGPT Premium, so I couldn't keep texting him. So, you know, I could be like on the brink of getting my plan for a long run, then boom, need to wait till tomorrow. So I was like, wait, okay, this probably isn't going to work for too long. But no, there was actually a girl who I was in Canada with, and she was running as well, and she was getting coached by Andrew at the time, and she was like, look, he's an online coach, and I was an online coach as well. And like, obviously my stuff is for physique development, his stuff is for running. And she was like, look, he's really, really nice. Give him a message. And I was like, I just need something. I need someone to call. So I literally rang him. And the first thing I said is, first of all, do you think I can do this? this is my base. This is everything about me. Do you think it's possible that I can cross the line in Dublin? And when he said yes on the call, I was like, right, let's give this a crack, because I just need someone who believes in me, and I need someone who will help me throughout this process. And like, he's still my coach today. Like, I text him about tomorrow about the plan, like we've a really good relationship, and he's been super helpful throughout this process. And yeah, he's just been Superman, like I wouldn't be in the position I am today, because like, if anything, he's just there to rein me in. Like, cause like, I'm really like, right, okay, he gives me a kilometer, 340. I'm like, right, 330. But then like, he'd be the one texting me after being like, I said 340, listen to me. And I'm like, okay, you're right, sorry. So like, he's great for that. Because it's so easy to get carried away, isn't it? Like, oh, this will look good on the Instagram story now. We'll speed it up there. But no, I need someone there like that. So yeah, he's been super, and yeah, we've made pretty good progress together. So I can't fault him. He's been amazing.
Yeah, it's funny you said that, because I think one of your posts you had, it was like, I need to run my easy runs easy, and that like a good couple of posts you keep highlighting that needs to be easier, zone 1, zone 2s, and you're almost like walking when you're doing your jog, but get over yourself. That's hard to do, and someone that hasn't gone into running, it's like the hardest thing to do is to slow down on it. It's tough.
Man, I lived in UL for the last 4 years. So like, you're running around campus, and it's like all college students, and I'm doing like 6:30, 6-minute Ks. I'm like, man, I want to run faster. Like, I feel like I'm getting judged, like you're like keeping an eye out. So like, for me, running slow, I was like, I don't want to do this. I don't want to do this. But like, I just found then when I was running slow, I wasn't hitting my sessions the way that I needed to hit them. So like, I didn't really learn it through like social media or anything like that. I was like kind of feeling battered going into my sessions. And I was like, well, realistically, the main reason I'm running my easy runs faster than easy is so that when I post on Strava or when I upload them, they look better. And I was like, what am I really doing this for? So I kind of realized to myself that like, I'm doing, like, realistically, I'm doing this so I can be a better runner, and I'm doing this so I can get the best result on race day. Like this week, I haven't run faster than 5-minute Ks really, and that's throughout all my runs in the week, because I have a race on the weekend, and like, I'm perfectly fine with that, because I know tomorrow I'm going to be running all under 4-minute Ks, So I think it's a case of understanding that if you don't run your easy runs easy, you're just taking from your next session. It's like when you go on a night out and you're like, this is the best crack ever, but you're kind of taking from tomorrow's happiness. You know what I mean? Like, it's like you need to realize that like, you do need to go easy, like an easier than easy. Like, if you think you're going too easy, you're probably not.
Before we get into Dublin and talk about that finish line feel for your first time doing a Dublin Marathon, I want to talk a second about Pieta House and raising money for them, because I'd say the first time I actually came across your content wasn't the running. You did a mental health video with Owen McGrath, and it was basically just you and him, and you give him a text or a call, and it's like, hey, come out for a run. He wasn't feeling good, and then it's a fantastic video. But what inspired that, and why Pieta House opposed to any other charity? What inspires the stuff for mental health?
Yeah, well, I suppose I don't have like I suppose a major mental health story to tell, but I know that everything that they do is super, and I know so many people have had countless benefits from them. And I was kind of like, if I can do anything to raise awareness towards a charity like this, I know I'm doing something good. And like, throughout my kind of social media journey was, I suppose, the first time where I kind of struggled with my own mental health. Like, I got a lot of negative comments and everything once I started, and I know what it kind of feels like to be like, in a rut. So to have something or a company that you can always reach out to is like amazing for me. So that was like an external motivator when I was doing the training, like when I was struggling in training, I was kind of like, right, this is for an amazing cause. I can do this. I can do this. So yeah, honestly, I felt like in a really cool position to be able to say that I'm fundraising for them. Like, I was like, this is amazing, and how lucky am I to be able to raise awareness and to raise funds towards an amazing company. And yeah, I suppose then like Owen would be one of my best friends, and he's done loads of work for countless mental health charities. And yeah, like it's something that's really close to both of ourselves. So yeah, it's amazing to be raising funds for a company like that.
You struggled a lot with, because you put yourself out there a lot in social media. You're like, I don't know, you've done so many real stuff like that, but I've seen a few of them where like, I love Ireland. Ireland's great. But there is
here comes the book. Go on,
no,
Sean.
but no, there's a cynical side to us, and I see.
Of course
You
there
talk about
is.
this on the podcast as one of your reels that when you put it there, and I relate it so much that if you kind of veer right from what everyone's doing or veer left from everyone's doing, there's a lot of judgment thrown at you. And you talked a lot about that, like when you're 56 years, you talk about getting like eggs and stuff that thrown at your house and nights out and stuff like that for those first years, and try and keep going. You get messaged people after don't want to start from that. Is that changing? In like even saying online content creator, like that was something that when me and Eric were in Maynooth, 15 years ago, wasn't a thing. Don't think Instagram was a thing. But it's starting to come a little more, from what I see, it's more from the outside looking in, more acceptable. But I don't put myself, I obviously being self and Eric doing a podcast, but I don't do vlogs every day. I'm not like, it's background kind of stuff. I consider I don't all in on it. I don't think I'm all in on it, but you obviously are. Is it starting to change where it's more acceptable that kind of way, or do you still get that?
It's funny. I was actually talking to one of my friends about this. I think it's more accepted, definitely. Like,
Right.
I mean, loads of people are vlogging now. It's great, man. I think it's so cool, but I don't think the barrier to entry has become easier. Like, I think you're always going to be your number one critic. So I don't think it's easier to start now. Okay. I think it's more accepted. Like, but I still think the hardest thing to do is get by yourself and like to push past yourself and be like, no, I want to make this step and I want to start posting content. So I don't think that's ever going to become easier. I don't think there's ever that's going to be always within you. So once you bypass that, I do think from there it's easier. Like even now when I'm vlogging out in public or like, if I'm with the lads, they don't really pay much attention to it because it's like kind of a bit more normalized, which is great. But it definitely wasn't like that. Like I can promise you for like a long, long time. Like it was very, very difficult at the start, especially when you're in school. Like I think school is the most judgmental period of any Irish person's life, to be honest.
Yep.
I think you're going to get judged no matter what you do. You color your hair, what you wear. So that was kind of my mindset with starting the fitness page. I was kind of like, right, well, I'm going to get judged regardless. I already am. So are you. So are you. Everybody's getting judged, right? So it's like, I was like, I'd prefer to do something that I know I love and get judged for it, because then at least then at the end of the day, I can know that I'm living a life true to myself and that I would happily take judgment for doing that.
It's like, for me, it's always an unusual, like, and we talk about the cycle, like when you go or you spend time in the US or you do whatever and you see the kids doing something and all the parents are like, oh my God, wow, they're nearly what we would call the extra in terms of support and everything else. Where here it's the elbow and the person beside you, like, look at this lunatic. What's wrong with that kid? Like it always starts with that negative. And no different to a job or when I go into acting, and I'm not saying that you're acting online, but it is a performance because the tone you carry, the difference between an actor, they perform in a movie, they get paid for the movie, they be that character, and then they go and do their normal lives. When you're vlogging, where is that barrier for? Because obviously when you talk about the vulnerabilities of being online and letting people look at your life, that line is very close to personal life and your everyday routine and everything else. So how do you best manage, one, being able to switch off, because you do need to be able to switch off, and that line, like your mom said, just don't take pictures in your jocks, which I'm pretty sure there's probably tens of thousands of those photos now on your phone. But where's
sorry, man.
where is that line, and how do you? Because that's what's different about being a vlogger, and that's what's different about being a content creator. It's raw. It's me here, my life. You like it or don't. You can watch it on whatever, TikTok, YouTube, but there's less of a barrier. How do you manage that?
Yeah, that's a really good question, and something that like I really struggle with. Like, how much can you post? How much of your life do you want to let people into? And like me, I would say I post a lot. Like, I would update a lot, but you also have to be very careful with what you are posting, because the reality is there's some weird people out there, man. Like I've got some weird messages. So like you do have to be very careful with what you post.
About that message, Sam. I did say sorry. It was one time. Don't judge me.
um, but no, yeah, I think like with the shutting off thing as well, it's something that I struggle a lot with. Like, you know, you're lying in bed and you're thinking, like, I've posted twice a day since I've came out here on Instagram and TikTok, probably more. So like every single day I'm like, right, okay, what piece of content can I create today? And my thing is, and like any piece of advice I'd give to anyone looking to create content, stop creating content, start documenting, because I think there's a huge difference. Because I think so many people get caught up in, how am I going to, like, say for me, right, if you were in my shoes, how am I going to help runners become better runners? Well, why don't I document what I'm doing, and then maybe someone might learn from that? And I think that's how I've stayed so consistent with my content. It's been like even now that I've moved out to New York, I've just been documenting that. And like, it's a fitness page, doesn't really align with fitness. No, but it's my page. If you don't want to follow me, don't follow me. You know, like majority of stuff I will post will be fitness. But I think once you figure out that the beauty of content creation is in documentation of your content creation, it's a bit of a weird one, but I think you understand what I'm trying to get at. Like, my goal is to document what I'm doing. And if I can help someone in that journey, great. If not, if I can provide some entertainment or provide some relatability, then that's amazing as well. So yeah, I think that's been the big one for me, realizing that I need to document rather than content create. Because I couldn't create content and do it twice a day, man. No way. Like, I never think of content creation ideas, you know, like how to improve your 5K or how to become a better runner. You'd run out of these so quickly. Whereas like once you're vlogging and once you mention little tips about how you might be becoming a better runner, I think that's so much easier to stay consistent with.
One of the biggest vlogs you've probably done is a double marathon vlog. Very honest, didn't put yourself in the best light at one stage during the vlog, and it's probably not where you think it is, but if you look closely, I'll tell you exactly where it was. You you start in the morning, going starting line, everything else, it's cold and you're going through it and you're flying along the first few K like everyone else, and you do talk about struggling at 32K, and that's not what I'm talking about. You know, with 3-4K to go, you're looking at it, you've no idea where I'm going with this. With 3-4K to go.
I'm actually quite worried.
With 3-4K, you're near the end, you kept going. But when you got to that 1 kilometre from the finish line, there's a smile on your face and you think you're doing good and you're near the end. But if you just look a little bit past you, mate, all the fitness stuff you put in the on your Instagram story, you were clearly outgunned, is all I'm saying. Because I'm right there behind you, pal. On that video, I'm like, there I am. Truth be told, Sam passed me out at this stage. The video and cruised on towards at 3:32 while I was lagging behind on that one.
You were
for that. I looked like shit.
Sean doesn't watch Netflix. He's after watching all 4 hours of that going, where am I? He had this line built in his head.
Sam,
that's hilarious. It's so funny. You were at the expo for that, weren't you?
Yes, I was. I was at the expo the day before.
Yeah, I was actually going to come up to you. I was actually too shy because I was listening to your podcast.
Sam,
I know I should have. But I was listening to your podcast consistently before. Like, I was like, oh my God, Mom, it's them. Look, it's those guys.
Jesus Christ.
Yeah, but no, like, geez, the marathon was like the best day of my life, man. It's like that was my first. I did another local race, like a half marathon. There was like 200 people that did it. So to have Dublin Marathon is your first proper race, like it sets the bar.
I know for people who are listening, they can look at the vlog, they can get the blow by blow of how you felt on that day. But for us, for the listeners, stepping up to your first marathon, you've acquired a coach. Andrew's given you all the tips and tricks. He's reined in the days you needed reining in. He's pushed you the days you needed. You're eating, you're healthy, you're on the start line. What is that feeling like? Because this is something very different.
Terrifying, but so exciting. Like, my thing was I was just so worried about what's going to come after 32K. Now, if you look at my splits, I clearly didn't worry because I went out way too fast. But listen, that's a mistake we all make at some stage, you know. But yeah, I was really excited. I think documenting it really helps too, because like I was like, right, okay, I've been doing this for so long. Now it's time to just go out and do it. You know, you've worked your ass off. Just go enjoy it, you know? And I was lucky, one of my best friends is doing it as well, Adam Sweeney. So I was kind of lucky to have him there by my side for like even just getting up to the start line. And then once the race started, it was just, I can't even explain it. Like it honestly, half the kilometers felt like 3 kilometers. Like you're just like, you're running around and it doesn't feel like you're running, you know?
Until it does.
Yeah. And it did. Oh my God, it did. Yeah, that 30K onwards was honestly like the hardest thing. The last 12K. I remember I had 2 lads run by me with 10K to go. They were like, it's just 2 park runs, man. And I was genuinely, I thought I was going to die at that stage. I needed water. There was some poor lady holding water. I didn't even ask her if I could take it. I just ripped it off her hands. So yeah, apologies if she's listening to this, but yeah, it was an amazing day, but the hardest thing I've ever done by far.
Unreal. Sam, moving on from that, I know we're just conscious of time a little bit, but from there, back in December, you did Waterford Half Marathon, 1:28. February 10K, all of a sudden you're down to 37 minutes and 41 seconds in Nina. Westport then 1:28, and then you're on to the Great Limerick run, this run I mentioned in the intro. What's happening from Dublin to this Great Limerick run in terms of your training? Is it just you're getting more used to the volume, you're able to keep the volume up? What are you doing to your running to get towards a point where you're able to run a 3:59 per kilometre pace for 21.1 kilometres?
I think genuine consistency. I think, like, and I don't want to sound like something I'm not by saying this, right? But I have a fitness page and I document what I do. The reason I started that fitness page was because I was super consistent with what I was doing in the gym. And I think people will see the vlogs and they'll see the videos, but a lot of people don't see like the really tough sessions that go on behind the scenes. Like I have worked my ass off like ever since I started running. Like I have been like, I don't think I've missed a session, you know, and that's because I genuinely love it. But number two, I want to get really, really good at this. So that's just the honest answer. Like I've been super, super consistent with my training. Anything Andrew's told me to do, I've done to a T, and like I've followed it like as precisely as I can, whilst also being a college student and trying to enjoy life as well. But yeah, I think like my big thing was enjoy your life and you know, go on your few nights out, do whatever you need to do. But once that race starts to come and like, you know, it's been in 2 or 3 weeks, that's when you really need to start dialing in the gears and start being like, you know, you have your last few sessions that are like going to be a telltale session of how the race is going to go. And they were the ones for me that I treated like a race day. And I was like, right, okay, I have this last session now. So whether it's a half marathon session or, you know, like a 10K session. And I was like, right, okay, I need to tune in for this session. You know, like it's the exact same way I'm out in New York and I have a 10K tomorrow. Like 2 weeks ago, I had like my biggest session before it. And like I made sure that I was going to perform well on that session because I know that will give me the confidence coming into tomorrow. So yeah, I think that's, if anything, that's what I've learned. It's just, you know, once that race starts to come close, just start to kind of tune it in a bit and give it your best shot, because the last thing you want is crossing the line thinking that, you know, there was a stone that, you know, you didn't give it your all, because that would kill me, you know.
And obviously it's still very new from 2025 to now, and we're only talking about coming into the 16 weeks to go to Dublin, you know, and it comes around quicker than even this podcast can keep up with. But it's when you look at the marathon, the feeling of the marathon, that 32K, and now you've gone to half marathon, 10Ks, another 10K tomorrow. Where do you find the love in it now? Because you can go two ways. You either say, nah, half marathon is actually where I would prefer to be, 10K, 5K. Where is your mind shifting to? And again, is the physique side a kind of second part to you now? Is the running becoming this new love that you're probably going to transition into a more of a running physical vlogger as opposed to pure physique?
Yeah, I think it'll always be a bit of both, but I think running will definitely be taking the kind of the priority for the next few years, to be honest. Like I've absolutely loved it, and I think the marathon will be my big kind of goal. Like after I run a sub 3, like whether that is in Dublin or whenever it happens, like I think there's just so much progression that can be made across the marathon. You know, like if you do a marathon, like let's say I run 3:05, okay? Like, you know, if you do a next one, you could do 2:55. Like the progression there is just so much bigger than like a 5K when you're taking off like 7 seconds and like you've absolutely binned yourself for it. Like that's just heartbreaking, isn't it? Like, so I just think from like an egotistical point, like the marathon is just way more crack. Like I find it anyways. I just need to get like, it's the long runs that really daunt me. Like I've gone over 30K maybe like 3 times. So like the whole fueling thing and like going over 30K is still a daunting process for me. But I definitely think I'm excited to give sub 3 a crack in Dublin now.
Sam, before I ask about 2:59, you mentioned you're in New York at the moment. You've got a 10K coming tomorrow. I know you started a run club earlier in the week, and I should be mentioning one of these things. I'm going to be very selfish in this one. Eric probably won't care about this next question. Neither will 90% of the people listening, but I care. I want to know about it. Knicks in 5.
Knicks in
Talk to
5, baby.
me about New York City. Eric didn't even see any of this. Like the streets lined up. You see, he's got the cap,
and everything.
the projectors on the buildings and all and you're in the bars and stuff watching. What is the atmosphere like in New York on the games? And also, Americans have a weird thing, and there's a lot of stuff. Most recent example, not one most recent, but one of the most recent examples was Philadelphia after they won Super Bowl a couple of years ago. They just destroyed the city, flipped cars so much. There's videos of literally of a person eating horse shit. Why? I don't know. But Americans go nuts when their team wins. The Knicks haven't won in 53 years. You're out in Manhattan that night afterwards. Tell us something. Tell us a story about it.
Man, where do I start? That was the craziest night of my life, and like the most terrifying night, all in the same night. It was honestly like I've never watched NBA. Like, I am not trying to give a false impression here. I am not a diehard fan. Okay, I am such a bandwagon fan. I could name maybe 2 players. Okay, but I was there for the games, and my God, they were amazing. So turns out there's like more than one final for some reason. That was the first thing I couldn't wrap my head around. Like, why do you need to play 5 or 6? Play one.
Best of 7, baby.
You know,
Money.
It's like, okay, great. 7 nights out instead of 5. Brilliant. But yeah, so like the first few games were like, they were tame enough, you know, because like they obviously had to win 4, I suppose, to win. So yeah, and then once the 5th game came around, like honestly, it was so stupid, man. I don't know why we went into Manhattan. Like, we were just like classic Irish, like, oh, it'll be very fun. Like, we went in and then just about got into a bar. We got into an Irish bar. Great fun in there, but oh my God, man, the Americans are crazy. They're insane. Like the Knicks won. And then like everyone was leaving and they were all like, we're going to burn the city down. We're going to burn. I was like, oh my God. They weren't joking. This is like legit. Like, they're actually going to burn the city down. And we left the bar and we were trying to get to the subway. And I asked one of the police officers, I was like, how do we get home? She was like, you're not getting home tonight. I was like, sorry, what? She's like, you're just not going to be able to get home tonight. It's too busy. Like, it was insane. And then we were leaving and we got caught up and like, I want you to imagine like the worst mosh pit you've ever been in your life. And then I want you to think about nobody liking the artist. So everyone just there to kind of like almost cause each other hassle and everyone just pushing against each other. And it was really scary, man. Like, there was people getting seriously overwhelmed, bawling their eyes out. Like, I'd say there are a lot of people who got in a lot of like once we got out of that mosh pit, we went straight home. We were like, I haven't been that scared in ages, man, because like the Knicks fans were just they don't care. They were just like, we're going in. And they're like, these guys are like 6'5", jacks, and I'm here like, yeah, sure, go. You do what you gotta do, man. You know? And they're like running over you. They don't care. They don't care. They were just like, we're going to Madison Square Garden. We're going to cause absolute havoc, and they don't care what gets in their way. And like, it was insane, man. Like, you were literally like boxed up. It was tough to breathe. It was like havoc going on. But eventually we got home. But it was the craziest night of my life. Like, there was like cars, there was a school bus got lit on fire, there was fireworks going away like 2 meters away. So dangerous, like so dangerous. But like, Knicks in 5, you know.
It's bananas doing this when they win, like, because the Super Bowls one day the city can prepare themselves, so like they'll grease lampposts and stuff so people can't climb up them to do whatever and destroy things. And the fact that they go through that much effort to save their city when they win, it is just it's bananas. Obviously in basketball, they like that was their first 3 chances to win, so they can't do that every single time and stuff. But it's just it's bananas. But I did actually say to someone earlier today, I was at work, I was like, I'd actually love to have been over in New York just to experience that atmosphere, because some of the videos where you don't see that kind of stuff in the mall singing Jay-Z and stuff in Manhattan, man, it looked unbelievable.
Yeah, there's like 2 complete sizes. There's like the wholesome side, yeah, let's go Knicks, and then there's like the let's burn our city down. And like, well, why would you do that? You know.
So to
You need a
wrap
bit
up the
of natural,
podcast,
natural selection there, Sean, I think.
he was biting his tongue so much on that.
Yeah,
Sam,
no.
Project 259 then. You're building towards Dublin Marathon again. You're building towards obviously a sub 3 marathon. It seems to be everything's going according to plan at the moment to training. Is it a case now of just keeping consistent, building up for these next few months, or is there any races in line to see if you're on track, or is there anything you're tweaking or changing now that it's your second go around towards Dublin?
Yeah, so I think like obviously I have the 10K tomorrow. Like whilst I'm on a J1 here in New York, honestly, it's probably like the first time I've taken a step back. Like I'm not this like person who's not going out or like putting running on the front. Like yes, I'm very consistent with it, but I kind of know coming into October, like give 12, 14 weeks from October, I won't be going out. It'll be complete 100% of a lock-in for that. So I kind of want to enjoy the summer months as well. I'm big on the whole kind of balance kind of stuff. And I think I am in a position to where I feel confident to do a sub 3 hour marathon. Like when I announced it on Instagram, I think I announced it a week after I did a 3:33. So like probably the crazy thing to announce on Instagram. Like it felt terrifying then because like even doing a 4:15 kilometer, that felt so fast. Whereas now when I'm doing it, like I do feel a bit more comfortable at it. And I think Limerick was a big motivator for me because I was like, right, okay, I held 4 minutes per kilometer there for half of it. I think, like if I was to start the marathon block from there, I would like to think I'd be close. So hopefully now come, when October does roll around, the dots will align. And look, man, it's a tough one, right? Because a marathon's not like a 10K. 10K is extreme, like it's quite predictable. There's so many things that can happen on a marathon. So, I just want to get to the start line knowing that I gave it absolutely everything in that 16-week block, injury free, and I want to enjoy it as well, man. Like Dublin Marathon is the best day ever, I think. And I just like I want to enjoy it. Like if there's kids holding out signs, I want to hit the signs. I don't want to I'm not gonna die to run a sub 3. I'm gonna go out there, I'm gonna give it my best shot, and I'd like to think I'll be in sub 3 shape. If that happens, great. If it doesn't, guess what? There's another marathon next year,
Yeah. That's a great perspective to look at it. Sam, as well as that now, with your first marathon being so close, obviously Dublin being gone, and maybe something that me and Erica it's been years and years, Eric, since we did our first Dublin marathon. Is there any fresh
Back when
perspective?
I used to run.
Is there any fresh perspective you can give to someone listening that's about to embark on their first 16-week journey towards Dublin Marathon? Is there any advice or things you would change differently?
Yeah, I think understand it's going to be so ups and downs. Okay, there's going to be so many runs you're so excited for, and there's going to be runs that break your heart. Like I went on like some of my 27, 25K runs went awful, like so bad. I didn't finish them or they didn't go to plan. I was like, how am I going to do 40, 42K? So embrace all of it, and I think be grateful to be in a position to where you can push your body to do a marathon. Like what I always say is, how lucky am I to be able to choose what pain I get, if that makes sense. So like when I'm in a race, how lucky am I to be hurting right now? This is amazing. I completely chose to do this. So when you're struggling in training, flip your perspective to like this whole victim mentality. Oh, this is so hard. Like you're lucky, you know what I mean? You get to do this. So like when you commit to doing it, do your very best, and then come race day, do not wear headphones. You've worked your ass off to get here. Go out there, stoke it in. Dublin Marathon, there might be like 4 or 5K where you're not going to have people, like spread out throughout the 42K. The rest of it is like amazing. It is like I will always look back on, I think that first marathon will always be one of the best days of my life. Like it is genuinely amazing. And I promise you, no matter how little motivation you have coming into Dublin Marathon, after that marathon, you're going to be more motivated than you ever have before. So, just soak it in. The last 2-3 weeks can absolutely kick ass. They can be so hard, but get through it. There's light at the end of the tunnel, and then on race day, just soak it in. It's the victory lap.
Unreal. And
Sam, it's going to be amazing to watch this through your vlog. And I'm guessing you're going to be documenting this J1 style when it kicks off, which would be good to see as well. Sean is going to live vicariously through you. 18-year-old Sean is so jealous right now. But it's been absolutely brilliant hearing your story, and thanks for being so honest and giving the insight into the world that it is. And it is only the beginning of your journey, which is great for people to follow along. How can they follow along with you?
So you can follow me on Instagram and TikTok at SamoH Fitness is my handle for both. And then I'll actually have a videographer with me on the day for Dublin rather than
Oh, wow.
carrying my phone and trying to, because that is not easy, guys. So yeah, luckily I have a videographer coming up on the day, so we should get a pretty cool YouTube video out of that. So yeah, once the Dublin Marathon, I'm actually so excited to see all the content this year for Dublin Marathon. There seems to be such a good build up for it. I think the social media is going to be so much more prevalent this year than previous years. So I'm so excited to see it. So yeah, you can follow me there. Like, any support is always much appreciated. Thank you, Eric, for the cheap plug there. I appreciate it. And yeah, I'll be documenting the whole thing.
Unreal. We'll also have those links in the show notes. And that is it for this week's episode of the Any Given Run Day podcast from myself, Sam in New York. Good luck tomorrow. And Eric, take care.